For information on how you can help support those affected by the LA wildfires, please visit redcross.org or the SoCalFireFund.org. I'm Grayson Knight, and this is a special episode of Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Folks, at this time of this interview, wildfires in parts of Los Angeles have displaced thousands of residents, lives have been lost, and billions of dollars of property has been destroyed, including at least 8 schools. Kids from all over LA have lost everything, including their baseball equipment, at a time when most young players should be getting ready for their spring baseball seasons. Baseball might not seem like a top priority in times like these, but for some, getting back to normal any way they can will help bring hope to them faster. But they need our help. One man who is trying to help is James Hintz of Game Day Gloves. James lives in Bakersfield, California, and is determined to help bring some joy to kids in need. So far, through his efforts and in partnership with the Grace Glove Company, James has secured over 20 glove donations, but aims to provide even more. James is here now to tell us more about how we can all help with his ultimate goals for our glove fundraiser. Hey James, thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm good, Grayson. Thanks for having me, man, and thank you to both you and your dad for thinking of this. It's a great way to get the message out there.
It's great that we can be doing things like these while the fire is going on, and we're happy to help in any way. So
That's
let's not
awesome.
waste a second. Bottom line up front, how did this glove fundraiser come to be, and what are the goals, and how can the listeners help?
So, Grayson, it actually kind of came about based on several ways, that wound up being the idea to start the fundraiser. The first and obviously most relevant reason is because uh, I have a coworker and a friend, and actually a customer by the name of Robert Milton, and he is uh, a resident of Altadena, and unfortunately, he lost his home. But all the members of his family that lived in Altadena lost their homes, and that's a story that you hear over and over again about home after home with multiple generations, and it's just awful. The other thing that is particularly special about Robert is that he is heavily involved in the youth baseball and softball organizations down there. He's the president of a very successful travel softball team, and then also more than one of the little leagues down there for both baseball and softball. So when I found out what had happened there and that he was directly affected from it, that was something that really struck me. The second, and I guess more selfish reason, is that I have been in the same situation as Robert and many of these children. My parents' family, the home I grew up in, they owned it for close to 40 years, was lost in another wildfire in 2018, and we lost everything. It was literally cinders and ashes, and all of the memories of me and my family before them were gone. It was a feeling of robbery, except for you could sift through it and see the things that you had lost and know that were never going to be replaced. So, because of those two things, and the fact that in all of the melee and trying to get uh, shelter, clothing, things of that nature, I definitely feel like it's important to get something tangible into the hands of some of these kids. I don't think that they're ever an afterthought, but there are things that are more pressing than getting a new baseball glove, for example. And I have seen firsthand through my experience playing baseball and through my children how important getting back to some kind of normalcy can be, and how getting a new glove to get back on the field to do what you were doing before can just be so important. So that's the main genesis of it right there.
Mhm. So you're taking donations for gloves through your Instagram or Venmo. But what about other baseball equipment? So if we have bats, gloves, cleats, or clothing sitting in our garage no longer being used, do you know of a place where we can send that gear?
Sure. So a day or two. Well, let me back up a little bit. There have been multiple outlets down in Southern California that have offered glove or sorry equipment donations. I don't have all of their names, but there are several. I saw one in Orange County as well. But a couple of days after I started my initiative up here, another organization up here called the Bakersfield Brawlers reached out to me and said, "Hey, we'd like to do an equipment donation in conjunction with what you're doing." And I said, "That's great." And so, if you're in the Kern County area, that's the easiest way to go about it is to contact the Bakersfield Brawlers, and I can give you their contact information, Grayson, to put in any links or anything associated with the podcast. But they've been doing a lot of great work too. One thing that I love about the area of California that I live in is everybody really steps up when there's something either locally or in the area around. I'm really proud to be a part of this county and this city, and really proud of everybody who's stepped up already. And we're only 6 days into it.
Mr. James, as you can imagine, some people may be skeptical about donating money for any type of fundraiser. So we donate a glove through your company, but how do we know the money or the glove will get to the right place?
Sure. Well, of course, we will. We will let everyone know when we go down there to deliver the gloves. Um, Although the documenting of that is secondary to me, I really just want to make sure that everybody gets the stuff. But I'll definitely make sure that it is publicized so that everyone who knows or everyone who has donated glove will know when it's delivered down there. Uh, Again, I'm not trying to make a big production out of it when we do, but I definitely will make sure that everyone knows that their delivery has been made. And I have already been in contact with Robert and a couple other folks down there in the Altadena Pasadena area. They know what we're up to up here, and they are ready and willing to accept it when we deliver them.
So do you know how many gloves have been donating, and what's the goal?
Sure. So as of this morning, we are right on the cusp of 30 gloves. A lot of we have a lot of commitments where teams are in the process of pooling up their funds to be able to donate. But we have, I believe, right now 27 or 28. We received a glove or we're in the process of receiving a glove from another company called For Him Glove Company that wanted to send one on. So really appreciate him as well. But strictly from what we're doing here with this fundraiser, I believe is 27 or 28 as of today. The goal is that's kind of an open-ended question, right? I had said early on that I had a list that identified 37 families who had children that were impacted and lost their equipment. And that is basically, I would call it a rough list based on the people who have been willing to come forward and say that. It can be difficult to say that you need help. And I have a feeling there's a lot more people than that. So the goal was initially to get at least those 37 families a new glove. I would love to be able to send enough gloves down there to where if there are brothers and sisters or multiple children in that family, that everybody can get one. And we're also trying to make sure that the kids are getting gloves that are actually useful for them, right? It doesn't benefit anybody if there's 3 left-handed players and we send down 12 left-handed gloves. So we're really trying to identify who those players are and what kind of glove works best for them. And of course, I don't want to say it competing, but there are also other companies who are doing great work down there. So I want to make sure that, everybody gets the glove that they similar to what they had before, and it's something that they can use.
At the end of the day, you're all just trying to help people. It's not really a competition on who's making more money or
Oh,
something.
no way, not at all. I will be the first one to admit that I saw some really great things coming out from some of the big companies, and that's amazing. And they have the resources to do that, and I am thrilled and to see all the baseball community step up. I've seen a lot of posts from players. I've seen a lot of posts from some of the bigger national organizations, some of the major manufacturers and sponsors and things like that. And I would love it if we could, at the end of the day, outfit those kids and have them be the best looking group of kids out there playing the game.
So you're a baseball dad. How do you think one glove will impact the kid whose entire house is burned down?
Minimally, but again, I think when you look at it from the children's perspective, that can be a lot more than a baseball glove, right? It can be something to hold, something to remember the past and look forward to the future. I have definitely heard accounts from people who have purchased gloves from me, who've sent me photos or shared stories of their kids sleeping with the gloves they got from me. So, if you think about it, if you lost a stuffed animal or a blanket or something, anything, you got to realize these kids right now have absolutely nothing. So my thought process is if it's something that is theirs, that they know is theirs, that they can hold on to, that's the whole goal for me.
I know I would feel lost without my baseball gear, and I'm sure a bunch of other kids would feel lost too.
I think you're 100% right, Grace, and I genuinely think that the work that everybody is doing is going to be amazing. At the end of the day, these kids are going to end up really set up nicely.
Mhm. Okay, so I have two Grace gloves. Here's one of them, and I love them. They're my high school, Duluth High School's colors.
Uh-huh.
So mine were fully customized. So you do some work with the Grace Glove Company. So are they donated gloves? Are the donated gloves going to be customized at all, or like they game ready?
So they will be new Grace gloves. The majority of them will be from Grace's stock offering, which I actually have one right here. So as you can see, this is what the glove that you buy from Grace without customization looks
It's
like.
similar
It's
to
very
mine, yeah.
similar to yours. Kevin, the owner of Grace Glove, has done a lot of work researching, what type of gloves people like. We don't want to put out product that people don't want. With that being said, he and I both donated a custom glove, so there will be a couple of ones that are not that color, and then we also have some from previous runs that will either be all black or all blonde, and you never know what's going to show up. Really, we part of the part of the amazing effort of everybody who has donated is that we've had to put in a supplemental order for gloves so that way we can make sure that there's enough for everybody. So stay tuned there. There may be some surprises.
Another reminder, $150 donated to Game Day Gloves through Venmo puts a new glove on a young ball player's hand. James,
Yes, and to be
yeah,
go ahead. No, I know. Okay, I was saying to be fair, the reason that it is through Venmo or Apple Pay is because it's just me. My business is small here locally. I don't have a website. I run everything through my Instagram. And so that's why it's set up that way. I understand to some extent it may seem a little rinky dink, but I can assure you it's going to be very formally done. I have a thorough list of who's donated, how much, and everything. In fact, today we're going to submit our first payment to Grace Glove for the first set of gloves to go down there.
Mr. James, I mentioned you're a baseball dad. Besides this fundraiser, can you tell us a bit more about your history with the game, and if you're a coach now?
Sure. So I just like almost everybody in the town I grew up in Ventura, California. We played Little League back when Little League was really all there was. My dad was my coach all the way until eighth grade, uh, along with pretty much every other sport that I played. He was my coach and my inspiration for baseball. When I got to high school, I obviously started out right where you're probably at right now, Grayson, trying to make the freshman sophomore team. Did that, played freshman sophomore year, and then didn't lose love for the game by any means, but just found other interests. I was definitely not a star, so it was pretty easy for me to walk away from it. Is it a regret? I think so, but at the same time, I've been able to get back into the game through my children. When they were young, I coached them in the rec ball leagues and all that stuff, and now my middle son is on to travel ball and it's been there for several years. And I took a shot at coaching at that level, and it just proved to be a little bit too stressful for me. I cannot stress enough to everybody listening to this that the coaches who coach travel baseball and even rec baseball are 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 heroes that don't wear capes, especially in today's society when you have so much exposure and people who have false hopes and pretenses for every one of the kids. It really is a thankless job, and I can't thank the coaches that have worked with my children enough, and the coaches that worked with me when I was coaching, because without them, it would have been an absolute disaster. So now my wife and I are just parents in the stand, and we enjoy loving. We watch our middle son play, and he's phenomenal. So we're really grateful for that. And his brothers are great baseball brothers, and every meme and gif that you see online about baseball families, we're it, and we wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mhm. So before we finish with some fun questions, what do you hope your kids learn from your efforts to bring joy to others in times like these?
I think one of the things that every father asks for is that they can impress good values on their sons and daughters, really. But I think as a father, you really want your son to grow up to be a good man and understand that it's not always about you. In fact, most of the time, it's not about you. I have found that it's much easier to be gracious and grateful and giving to others, not so much for personal gain. In fact, almost not for personal gain at all, but just because it's the right thing to do. And so far, my children have done a great job modeling that way. I know I learned it from my dad, who was a civil servant and a military veteran, among every other selfless thing that you could ask for in a man. And my goal is to be able to raise my sons to the same potential and level that he raised me.
I'm sure they can take it after their father. How
No,
inspirational.
they're good. They're good boys, Grace, and I'm sure that you will admit that everybody slips up sometimes. But for 99.8% of the times, they're absolute model citizens and children, and I love them to death.
So I don't want to end this episode without some fun. So now we're
Okay,
moving to the last part, which is the not so rapid fire questions. You can answer with as much or as little info as you want. You ready?
I want to ask you something first, Grayson, if you don't mind.
What's up?
I heard that you are trying out for the baseball team this week, and I want to
It's
know how.
yeah, next week, but yes.
Okay. Well, so you're preparing for it this week?
Yeah, we're doing like everyday conditioning all after school, Monday through Friday.
Awesome.
hmm
What do you think is going to be the most difficult part of the tryout?
so we're doing like this a mile and a half run. We don't know when the date is, but the coach says that we're supposed to have bad weather on the day we do it, like rainy, cold weather. So that's the part I'm not looking forward to, but actual baseball stuff, I think I'm gonna have some fun. And I have a lot of friends that play baseball as well.
I've watched some of the videos that you have, and it looks like you're in a really good spot. And I just wanted to, before we do our rapid fire questions, I wanted to wish you the best of luck. I think that
Thank you.
I think you're going to be great for that school and that team, and I just wish you really well. So let's have them.
All right. So these some of these are completely unrelated to the topic. First one off, what's your favorite baseball stadium that you've been to?
Well, it's hard not to say that Dodger Stadium is my favorite. My family's been season ticket holders there almost my entire life. I was at game one with my dad and my two older children, and I don't think I've ever been in a sports environment that was so electric and could really feel it in my bones.
Did you
Uh,
stay till the end?
we stayed till the end. We were
Oh,
there.
that
It
must have
was
been awesome.
it was an amazing moment. I know people who were at a Koufax no hitter, and it was on that level. They've said it was unlike anything I've ever been to, and was so thankful to be there with my family. A lot of the other stadiums I've been to are no longer there. I really liked the old Rangers Stadium that everybody hated.
The
I actually
Globe Life
really liked
Field.
it. The one that I can't even remember the name of it. They've had so many down there, but the one previous to the one they have now, I
hmm
actually really like that stadium. Um, my dad and I went to Wrigley Field several years ago, and I don't think that you could say that your baseball fandom is complete without going there. Fortunately, the company I work for now is based in Boston, so I will get an opportunity to go to Wrigley at some point. But Wrigley and Dodger Stadium so far have been definitely the two best stadiums. Well, let me rephrase that. I've been to some really cool spring training facilities in Arizona
Oh,
too,
okay.
but none that top those two stadiums.
Another top Dodger Stadium in
What
Wrigley.
about you?
I haven't been to Dodger Stadium or Wrigley Field. I went to Toronto Rogers Center. That one's pretty cool. And then the atmosphere in Pittsburgh. I went to a game in Pittsburgh. It was really fun. I think the
Yeah,
Pirates scored like 12 runs that game. There was like four home runs. It was awesome. And Fenway Park was pretty cool.
yeah. I wish that I could have gotten to go to the original Yankee Stadium. That would have been awesome. I think it would be cool to go to a Toronto game and stay in the hotel and
Oh
get one of
yeah.
the rooms where you can
We
see
were
the
we were
game.
we
That
were
would be
gonna do
awesome.
that. My family was gonna do that, but we didn't end up doing that. Mm.
I'm sure it was kind of a trip even to get there, but yeah, those are both lists. Pittsburgh Stadium is awesome. They're so cool stadiums, and the fan experience that they have now is amazing. I will say I regret not getting to go to the Oakland Coliseum before it closed, but
Oh yeah.
you know.
So are you gonna go to the new AAA park or whatever?
So yeah, actually, I have some good friends up there in Sacramento, and I think we'll be going to a lot of every time that I have to go there to Sacramento, I'm going to try to go to a game at the
Mm.
Rivercast Stadium.
So
It's go ahead.
I'm a Rays fan because we're from the Tampa area. I lived
Uh-huh.
there for a little bit, and I went to the Trop last year, and I've been before, and I probably won't ever go to the Trop again because of the storm, and now they're moving to the spring training, and then they're getting a new stadium. So yeah.
You know, sometimes under unfortunate circumstances, you really get to see an interesting look at sports. You know, when the Chargers moved from San Diego to LA, they played in the Galaxy Stadium, which was tiny. I don't even, if it has 20,000 seats, I'd be shocked. So that's really the main reason I'm excited to go watch the A's up in Sacramento is because you're going to be right there. And for all of the negative press they've gotten, it's going to be a very unique fan experience to be able to be that close to pros. Now, will I go to watch the A's as much as the teams they're playing? Probably not. But you know, I'll take advantage while we have it. What else you got?
If your wife isn't home and you have to make one meal to please all your boys, what are you making?
Fried rice, hands
Fried
down.
rice. I
On
love
the
fried rice.
Blackstone, chicken fried rice is an absolute hit in the Hint's house.
My dad's is meatballs. He loves making. It's actually the only thing he makes once a month, maybe once
Well,
every 2 weeks.
I'm the main cook in the house, so I've learned what the family will eat without complaining about. And fried rice is a pretty big hit, um, and really easy and kind of fun to make.
So do you collect baseball cards? And if so, what's your most valuable card?
Sure. So, you know, getting back to the kind of the origin story of this fundraiser, my dad and I collected baseball cards my entire childhood. I would almost argue that it bordered on an addiction. We had tens of thousands of cards, and my dad actually fancied collecting complete sets. So we had complete sets from the 70s on through the mid 90s, and unfortunately, we lost all of that in the fire. I know that he had some very, very valuable cards. Fortunately, I was able to find one binder of my cards in a box that I took to college with me, and it is still there. And actually, I have the binder right here. So I think my most valuable card has got to be
Shohei
has
Ohtani.
got to be nope has got to be my mint Upper Deck Griffey rookie card. That's
Oh,
got
that's
to be
awesome.
number. So, but baseball cards are weird, right? Like during the pandemic, they got really valuable and then they kind of dropped off again. But for me, that. I remember the day I got that card at a card show, I thought life was complete. I never needed another card in my life.
My
What
dad
about you?
has a Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card.
But does he have the Billy Ripken card that's
Yeah.
so infamous
No, no. The thing, no, with the thing on the back.
with the thing on the
The thing
bat?
on the
No, he
bat.
doesn't have
No,
that
no,
one. Oh, I
no. He
wish I
doesn't
had
have
that.
that.
What about you, Gray? What's your most valuable card?
I don't really collect cards that much. I mean, because I only collect like new gen, like so. There's not really any like newer ones. But I have this. I have a signed Brett Phillips sliding catch card when he was with the Rays.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awesome.
so when he was pitching, he threw like a eephus pitch. A guy popped it
Yeah,
in, and then he slid in foul territory and caught it. And he signed it for me in person, which was pretty cool.
that's amazing. You know, one of the things that I've started doing here recently is collecting the Bowman first rookie cards of the players who've come from the area that I live in. So we're starting a small collection there, and obviously uh, some of those guys we hope will just go on to great things. So it's fun having a little bit of a local connection with those cards as well.
Speaking of that, Bakersfield is known as the country music capital of the West Coast. So if you have to sing a country song karaoke, what are you singing?
Oh, that is a random question. I'm not the hugest country music fan. I would probably be embarrassed to admit that would probably be like one of the songs that is pop country or something like that. It's hard not to be able to start busting out Streets of Bakersfield with being that Buck Owens is from here and the Crystal Palace is still here. So it would be something like that, or something that I'd be too embarrassed to admit on this show. What about you?
Uh, I don't I don't like singing karaoke at all.
Yeah, my singing voice, while phenomenal, it gets busted out very you have to really be something special to hear me starting to spit lyrics.
My dad's voice is phenomenal. He's like the best voice in the family.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I'm sure my wife and kids and neighbors and everyone else who hears me probably thinks opposite.
All right, DC or Marvel?
Probably Marvel. And let me qualify that by saying that I think all of the movies have jumped the shark. I love like the original Captain America, some of those really early Marvel movies. But and I really loved Guardians of the Galaxy. We talk about a great soundtrack. But I would say overall Marvel.
Hmm.
Although Batman is pretty awesome. I think in the
Hmm.
DC world, Batman is my favorite. What
Hmm.
about you?
I would say Marvel too because of their history and DC isn't doing well, but it could probably change after this year if Superman does well.
If you get a chance to go to California Adventure here down at Disneyland in Anaheim, they have a pretty cool Marvel world now,
Oh,
um,
that's cool.
with three or four pretty cool rides on it. Some of them are just I'm not a real big roller coaster guy, but my kids have been on them and said that they're all phenomenal.
Mhm. All right, last one. What's your favorite baseball movie of all time, and what can be learned from it?
Um, it's probably two of the ones that everybody will say. When my dad and I went to Wrigley Field, we also drove into Iowa, where his family is from, and we went to the Field of Dreams, and that was before they had built the stadium and commercialized it as much as they have now. And that was honestly watching that movie with my dad was the first time that I remember seeing him cry.
You watched it in theaters with him?
No, we watched it at the
Oh.
house. And it was, I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget the day that we went to Rayleigh or went to the Field of Dreams. And I think there's a lot of lessons you could learn from that movie. And then, of course, I would probably say secondarily to that, man, it'd be a tough. The original Major League is a phenomenal movie and very timely in the passing of Bob Uecker. But man, there's a lot of, there we go. Yep. There's a lot of great quotable lines there, and The Sandlot also is a movie about so much more than baseball. Yep, uh, Sandlot is about life and childhood and disappointment and setting goals. I see my older son a lot in the main character of Sandlot. Uh, he I think is the type of kid that will be in the booth as a broadcaster. He loves that stuff. He loves the game. Playing was not something that he chose to continue on, but he reminds me a lot of the main character from The Sandlot. So
Mhm.
those three movies. There's some other ones, that everyone has seen, but I think those three for me are the top three. I
I
don't,
think
I'm guessing you obliged by the photos that you showed.
I think my dad cries every time he watches Field of Dreams.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tearjerker for sure,
Mhm.
definitely. And I'll tell you what, taking BP at the Field of Dreams and standing in the corn and looking out is an experience I think every baseball fan needs to feel and see. it's a heck of a drive and out of the way from where most people are. But definitely one going to Dyersville, Iowa, and seeing that is an amazing thing.
Mhm. James hints of game day gloves, everybody. I really hope this interview gets at least one more glove donated. Did you have fun?
Absolutely. And, I think you hit the nail right on the head. If we can get one more glove donated, or even just get the overall message out, I don't think it's a secret that there's a lot of people down there that need help. But again, sometimes it gets lost in translation, what some of these kids have been dealing with and affected with. But did I have fun? Yes, absolutely. I can't wait for my next invite. We can talk about something else.
Hmm.
But
Hopefully something like better.
yeah, like a Dodgers repeat.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I really appreciate it, Grayson. It was awesome that you're doing this. I'm really proud of all the ones that you've done. I think it's very admirable that a young man your age is willing to put themselves out there on the internet and talk to people and polish those skills. And I think as you grow up and get into adulthood and looking for a job, if you don't become a professional baseball player, this is the kind of stuff that is going to be invaluable, and you'll be able to look back on it and I think be really proud of it. So thank you again, and thank your dad again, and your family for allowing me the opportunity to speak to me. And again,
Thank-
like Grayson said, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at game_day_gloves. That's where you'll find out all the information. We're putting out updates pretty regularly. I don't want to overpower people with updates and requesting, because I don't want it to appear that we're obviously doing it for any other reason than because we want people who want to donate to the right spots. So that's my message there.
You just basically did my job for me. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like I talk for a living, so sorry
No,
to
it's
steal your
okay.
thunder there. Do you want to repeat it?
I got it. All right. Thanks again for everything you're trying to do to help young ball players who have lost all their gear. Listeners, again, if you want to help put out a new glove on the hand of a ball player, please go to Game Day Gloves Venmo account or Instagram at game_day_glove. $150 secures a new glove for a kid that needs it. And you can follow me at Baseball Podcasts Are Fun on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. Please check back soon for an all new guest. Until then, that was James Hintz. I'm Grayson Knight, and this was Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya.